You might have seen the Calgary Herald headline stating that home prices could drop $100,000 over the next 2 years. Sounds shocking, right?
Oh no! Grab the children! Save the children!
I'll just give you the spoiler alert. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Well, before you either panic or start celebrating, let's take a deeper look at what this AI-driven study actually says. So let's start with where all this came from. The Calgary Herald ran this story based on an AI-driven study from Concordia University. And according to their model, Calgary's median home price could drop by over $100,000 in the next 2 years. Now, that's a big claim, and naturally it garnered a lot of attention, but here's what most people missed. If you look at the subtext right under the title, you'll see where the researchers themselves describe this as a worst case scenario and call it unlikely. The way the article is written makes it sound like prices are set to precipitously crash, but when you actually look at the study, you'll see that it's a lot more complicated. The AI model tested a range of scenarios based on immigration, housing starts, interest rates, and supply-demand balance. And that $100,000 drop represents the extreme end of the model, not a likely outcome, but it makes for a great headline. Now, this study assumes some very specific things that would have to happen for prices to fall that much, and one big factor is supply. Calgary has been adding housing at a rapid pace lately, with housing starts up about 32% from this time last year, and that's a huge jump. If that pace were to continue and demand at the same time were to tank, prices would definitely drop precipitously. The study also assumes that we'll continue to see a growth in prefab construction, which could impact supply even further. At the same time, it looks at the impact of tariffs, supply chain issues, and immigration levels. Basically, it's modeling a perfect storm where supply increases, demand stops, and prices tank.
Everybody panic! Oh my god!
But here's the thing, it's all based on assumptions. The market typically doesn't follow this kind of script. So is this actually going to happen? Yeah, probably not. Even the researchers behind this AI model say that any projected decrease in demand would be temporary. Canada is expected to add another 300 to 400,000 people over the next few years, and a lot of them are going to end up here in Calgary. With that kind of population growth, demand for housing isn't going anywhere. If supply keeps pace, what you're more likely to see is prices stabilize rather than crash. The model suggests that Calgary's median home price could level off depending on how fast we keep building. So if you're sitting around waiting for home prices to drop by 100,000 K, I think you're probably going to be waiting for a long time. The reality on the ground right now is that listings are still moving, buyers are still competing, and while some segments of the market, like the condo market, are cooling off, we're nowhere near this kind of freefall. So here's the bottom line. Could prices continue to dip? Sure. But a $100,000 drop is a worst case scenario in the extreme and not at all likely. Supply is growing, but Calgary's population is still booming, and that's keeping demand high. What we're much more likely to see is a period of slower growth, with some segments like the condo market experiencing some softening. But again, with the current levels of migration to Alberta, I'd be absolutely shocked to see anything even close to a $100,000 dip. So if you're a buyer, this is your reminder maybe not to sit on the sidelines and wait for the perfect bottom of the market. Nobody can time the market. And if you're a seller, just relax, don't panic. The fundamentals of our market are still very strong. The biggest takeaway here is that this is an AI model and a clickbait headline. But I guess it's working because here I sit talking about it. So anyway, that's the real story behind this $100,000 price drop headline. If you'd like to get more updates about what's actually happening in the Calgary market, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.